That starts a Demm Report.
Well, this is kind of an awful story. Monday, we take you out to Portland, Oregon. Monday was the first day of class at Lewis and Clark College, small liberal arts school. Shockingly and sadly, one 19-year-old student never made it to the second day. The unidentified man was killed, and I don't think I've ever said this, in a freak hammock accident on campus Monday night. According to witnesses, 6 different students were sharing 3 separate hammocks around a swimming pool. All the hammocks were attached to a 10-foot-tall masonry column. And for some still unknown reason, the bricks supporting the column collapsed. And the 19-year-old man was killed. The weight of it landed on him. He took the direct brunt, killed him on the spot. 2 other women fell out of their hammocks. One hurt her abdomen. One, I think, maybe broke her arm. They're obviously going to live. But the other man is dead from the flukiest of fluke injuries.
Hammock fall.
Unless it was overloaded, I don't know. You know, people tend to overload hammocks.
There's another thing. When you're in a hammock and it starts to go, you have that 1 second to think, like we were talking about earlier. This is how I'm going out.
This can't be
a hammock accident.
Yeah.
Has that ever, as a hammock? It's probably killed somebody else.
It probably has.
But I broke a hammock once.
No surprise.
All right.
How high up were you? Hammocks look fun. I mean, the first hammock I saw was Gilligan's Island, and they slept in hammocks. I'm like, cool.
It did look cool on TV.
Yeah.
I was in college, so I was pretty high up.
I bet you were, Panama Red.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
And I got in it, and I felt it give way.
I can't get out.
And
Help me.
Don't worry, it'll eventually break.
And it finally, you could see like the ends of it coming in.
Yeah, you hear the creaking first.
You hear the creaking.
Now, was yours, Kelly, one of your self-contained hammocks, or was this attached to trees?
Self-contained hammock, and it started to bend on each end, and you could tell it wasn't going to support my weight. And I get down, and finally it just breaks on through. I mean, the stanchions bent, and then...
Oh, God, the gales of laughter. Did you knock over the bong?
And the person whose hammock it was said, "That's a real old hammock." So he said, "Don't
feel bad.
Don't feel bad." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, I appreciate it." But of course,
I shouldn't have given you that hammock.
That's how that is. You break something like I told you recently. I broke that Adirondack chair, but I blamed it on my friend Jerry Rowe.
Decades ago.
Yeah, I was at a party, sat in an Adirondack chair. I was having a good time. People were bringing me food. I was laughing and all,
Crack.
Was it plastic or real?
Plastic.
Oh, solid wood.
No, yes, it was. Solid
wood.
And I felt it give clunk, and it was like, uh-oh. I had broken it, no doubt. So I got up gingerly and just moved to the other side of the deck. Well, then here comes Jerry Rowe with a plate of food. And
it was like one of those things where you see... like in a cartoon where like one feather lands on something and everything breaks.
That's right.
Breaks the dam.
So Jerry sits
Kelly
down.
had broken the dam.
I knew I broke it, but I got
But
up.
the wall was still there.
I got up as lightly as I could. I got up.
Didn't tell anyone.
Didn't tell a soul. Went to the other side of the deck. Here comes Jerry. Comes walking through. I see him. Plate of food in one hand, drink in the other. Puts the drink down on the deck. Sits down in the Adirondack chair. Well, then, bam, down it goes. And he says,
food flying.
Oh, yeah. And he says to the host, he says, "Oh, my God, Jason." The guy's name was Jason, hosting the party. He's Jason, "I'm sorry, I just broke your chair." And he's like, "Don't worry about it, Jerry. It's okay." And Jerry's like, "No, I want to pay you for this chair." And, of course, I say, "You should pay him for that chair." Golly,
Looks like a nice one. Was that solid wood?
How dare you, Jerry? And then Jason's like, "No, man, that's my fault. This chair, we shouldn't have even had it out here. I'm just glad you weren't hurt." And I was like, "Oh, Jerry, man, you really messed up there."
What are you going to break
Jerry.
next, Jer?
Terrible. God, awful. I mean, just what a terrible, horrible human being.
Yeah. Have you ever cleared the air with Jerry?
No. I've never cleared the air.
Just left that where it is.
I did. He probably paid for that chair. I have no idea. This is 25 years ago.
He probably deserved it in some part of his life.
Wake up call, though. Total wake up call. 10 years later, I lost weight. I said, "This has got it.
It's true.
This is it."
It only
right.
took a decade.
That's right. I had to. That chair sticks in my mind. I'll tell you that.
Hell.
Heroin Scott, you're talking about breaking stuff. Go ahead.
Yes, I went over to a girl's house with a buddy of mine. I didn't know the girl. It's the first time I ever met her. Well, she comes out to her carport, and we're out there smoking out of a pipe. And she walks, and she is telling us about this pipe. Her friend had gave it to her, and it meant the world to her. And her friend had just died a couple of weeks earlier in a car crash. And of course, she tells us the sentimental value of the pipe and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she walks in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, me and him are left out there smoking. I drop it on the concrete. It shatters, and we run and peel out.
Glass pipe.
Have you
So the poor woman just returns and sees nothing but a shattered
left?
pipe.
Well, sir, did you talk to her later about it?
I've never seen her again.
Oh my God. That's worse than what I did to Jerry Rowe.
Yeah, so anyways, it means
God.
I'd like to think that part of his spirit lives on.
In this pipe, in this glass pipe. Oh, heroin,
Oh,
Scott. Oh,
Shadoobie.
no. We're both terrible. We're both terrible people. That was awful.
That's true.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
To say that a little piece of him lived in that. Of course, in front of my wife, I broke that Christmas ornament that time. It had my son's.
Was that his handprint?
His
or?
handprint. He was in preschool. He made an ornament for us. It was his handprint on it. And then 5 or 6 years later, now that he was about 9 or 10, I was putting it on the tree. And she said, "Whatever you do, that's the most fragile and precious ornament I have." And I got it on the tree and everything, and then crash right down, and it shattered into 1,000 pieces. I tried to put the hand back together and everything. She said, "Don't bother. Don't even bother."
Well, that was an accident.
It was an accident.
You couldn't help that.
But she had said,
It's the only one that can't be replicated or replaced.
she said, "You can set the rest of them on fire. This is the only one I care about."
And if I recall, you were in a mood because you didn't want to decorate the tree or
That's right.
drag
Yeah,
the tree in.
there's something
There's
else
more
to this
going
story.
on.
Yeah, there was
It
always
wasn't just a simple.
I was,
plot.
I was huffing and puffing.
It wasn't like you were in a Christmas sweater going, "Golly gee, I
No.
love the holidays."
That's right. You're right. I was in a huff. I was in a mood, and I dropped that ornament, and she's never let me forget that one now.
Right.
That was a rough one. That was difficult. Tough times.
Yeah.
That and the breaking of the cloche. One time I broke her.
Close.
I broke her.
That nobody uses.
She had a cloche.
Martha Stewart uses.
Yes.
And,
Hospitals use them.
that was Christmas as well, and I broke her cloche, and she kept
In
saying,
front of company?
"Yes." And she, "You broke my cloche."
I don't remember the cloche story.
I don't even really either, but she had warned me, "Be careful of the glass cloche."
Was it two parts? Was there something that it
There's
sat
usually
on?
a tray, right?
Yes,
It's
that's
a
what it
tray,
is.
and then
That's
there's the cloche.
I think below the tray was a nativity scene, and the cloche was over top of it.
Oh.
It's odd to have the baby Jesus in a cloche like that, but we did.
Under glass.
Under glass.
Yeah, that's something you see in a cathedral.
He can survive.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the shepherds.
I am too. And the wildlife.
I'm worried about the wise men.
Me too.
Yeah, he'll live again.
Broke it right in front of her, and she was mad about that too. I think I let what I did was let the kids play on the counter, and she goes, "Don't you dare let them break that close." One of them hit it.
Yeah.
Luke, you're talking about breaking things. It started with a hammock. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. T1 from Salisbury. How y'all doing?
Wonderful, thank you.
So, my mom went on a trip to Charleston, and she goes every year. She used to buy these hurricane lamps that you can't find anymore, Gone with the Wind lamps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And right before she left for that trip, she said, "I'm going to try to find another one of these hurricane lamps because I can't get enough of them, and you can never find them."
Mm-hmm.
The minute she pulled out of the driveway, I tripped over the cord that was plugged into the wall and smashed it to pieces.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Were you running
I
or
tried
just
to blame it
clumsy?
on the dog, but it didn't work.
No,
Yeah.
she's upset with you. Oh man,
Yeah, but I found a replacement.
Oh, you did.
Wow.
That's good
Wow.
for you. My son's handprint could not be replaced.
No.
Nah.
I mean, if I give the handprint now, what is it? It doesn't
a
Yeah,
big
you,
old-
you have to have an ornament that's like 8 inches
a big
across.
old
yeah, like a bowling ball ornament now. Thank you, Luke. I'm sorry that happened to you. At least you got a replacement for it.
Yeah.
That's nice of you.
But patio furniture, when you break it, that's embarrassing because that's usually
That's your
people
weight.
are around.
Social setting.
Adirondack chair, hammock, all
Hammocks
this.
aren't cheap either.
No,
They can be expensive.
this is bad.
You like
That poor
the
guy.
canvas kind of great. The rope kind, you can toss those in the deep blue sea.
that poor guy.
Because they're uncomfortable.
I don't like the rope kind either.
The canvas is the only way to go.
I agree with that. I broke a canvas one. That's what I broke. It just stretched in. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Awful. Yeah, I know.